So what is the best Toyota Tacoma trim level to buy? Of course, this is highly debatable, but it kind of depends on what you need. First of all, if you're the kind that, first of all, doesn't care about how much money you're spending, I would say go with a limited or even the TRD Pro. The Pro is going to give you a truck that is completely finished. Honestly, has more on it than you're probably ever going to want. I still can't get over those isolator seats that they have, the ones with the shock absorbers on the back. I would never buy that. It's not for me. But like I said, if you want a truck that's finished, that truck or the Limited. The only downside with the Limited, again, this is personal preference, is all the chrome and stuff that's on it. There's a lot of chrome on the Limited. That would turn me off, but there are also a lot of options and things. Next, of course, is, I guess, what I would probably think is the bread and butter for Toyota, and that is the TRD line. The TRD, I mean, you've got the off-road, which is designed for off-road, I guess, hence the name, and you have the Sport. The Sport being more designed for cruising around on the road and stuff. You're going to get a little bit more rugged truck when you get the off-road. You're going to get a little bit more sporty truck. I guess the spoiler makes it sporty. The hood scoop doesn't really have a spoiler, I suppose, unless you consider that thing that's off the roof a spoiler, but it's on all of the new Tacomas. Not bad trucks, probably good middle-of-the-road trucks to get if you want most of the options that you can possibly get, and I'm sure you can probably option up a TRD with everything on it, but you're going to pay for it. And it's also right there in the middle, I guess, when it comes to money, right? Next, we've got the SR5. Me personally, and for someone like me, if I could find one that has at least a minimum of what I want, I think the SR5 is really the way to go, particularly if you're into mods and things, and maybe you don't want all the stuff that comes with the TRD line. The SR5 is a good, solid, not low level, but one step or maybe two steps above low level, and you still get a pretty comfortably equipped truck with all the stuff on it that you're probably going to need, and also sort of a blank canvas to be able to do things to it that you're not going to feel like you wasted your money on a TRD when you're ripping things off to put other things on it. Next up, I would say, is probably the pre-runner, the truck that has, what, 1.5 doors, I guess. I suppose that would be one level up above the base or the bottom line. A nice truck. Of course, you don't have any doors in the back. You merely have the front doors. You have to move the seats to be able to access it. It is an access cab, by the way. It still gives you a lot of room to be able to stow stuff back there, or maybe you want to put Fido back there. I've heard from several people that tell me they have dogs, and that's what they do with their dog. They put them in the back. They don't have to screw with any damage or anything that they're going to do back there. Not a bad truck once again, and arguably, you know, the access cab is a pretty good looking Tacoma too. I've had several people tell me, and they're probably biased because they have them, that truck, that trim level, is the best looking Tacoma out there. I don't know, man. I had one years ago. It was all black, and it was a pretty sharp looking truck. So, you know, I might agree with that. Plus, you're going to get the longer bed on it because you have the access area as opposed to a full double cab. Something else that I think a lot of people really like, particularly if you use it. If you're a tradesman, maybe you're in construction or even delivery and stuff, it's probably pretty nice to have that extra bed length back there to be able to haul stuff around. Now, the lowest trim level, the SR. The SR, I've never had an SR that I'm aware of, that I can remember. It's pretty base. I mean, you're going to get the minimal amount of stuff on it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the engine is also tuned down a little bit. You're not going to get the full oomph that you get out of the TRD or even the SR5 and up version, I should say. Kind of depends on what you're using it for. For me personally, I don't know if that would be a real big deal if I was looking at having a minimalist truck, something in the lower end range. But just keep in mind that if you go with the SR, you're not going to have all of the extra options and things that you might want down the road. Although I do hear from a lot of people that tell me that's what they're looking for. They don't want all the tech and stuff in it, even though the SR is still going to have a lot of pretty modern tech in it anyway. And of course, you're still going to get the 4-cylinder turbo engine. Now, there is one other trim level that I haven't mentioned, and that is the Big Daddy. I guess you could say that I did mention it in talking about the TRD Pro, because it has it. And of course, I'm talking about the hybrid version. That's where you've got a battery for a little extra oomph and assistance in the truck, a little extra torque, maybe a little extra horsepower. I don't know. I go back and forth on that. You know, when the Tacomas first came out, it was my plan to get the hybrid version down the road. In other words, go ahead and get the regular 4-cylinder turbo, and then trade up. I guess it's up. Some people would say it's sideways or even down, I guess. But trade up to the hybrid version. Since then, I've changed my mind a little bit when it comes to the hybrid. It's not that I still wouldn't like to experience it. I would. But now you've got another battery to screw with, right? And I'll tell you, I'm probably a little shy of that because I've had Jeep Gladiators in the past that had the auxiliary battery system for the auto stop, and they cause nothing but problems. They start to go bad, they drain the main battery, people were getting stranded. I'm not saying that the Tacoma has the same kind of system, hopefully not, but I'm not sure. And until they're out for a while, probably 1 to 3 years, we won't know, because it seems to take that long, at least going back to the Jeep Gladiator, before they start having any trouble. So I don't like that, the possibility of having problems. If I'm going to go with anything, I think, that has any kind of an electrical component to it, I'm going to go all in EV. You know, I had a Prius, still in the Toyota family. It was a hybrid. It was a great car. It was the redesigned version, not the old, but the redesigned version, and it was a great car. Plenty of pep, and that's why I got it. Not to mention it, I thought it looked pretty good. But plenty of pep and torque and oomph, and I really did like that. But after having a Tesla, I don't think I'd ever go back to a hybrid, even though the hybrid does satisfy my my fear, or alleviate my fear of long distance driving and having to stop way too often, in my opinion, to charge, because they just don't have range. That's the other thing. I would never have just an EV. I would always have, unless there's some major advancement, but I will always have an ICE vehicle, just because it's so much quicker to go to a gas station and fill up and go. I don't know. Anyway, for me, SR5, TRD, that's the sweet spot for me. That's where I'll stay. I won't go below that. And honestly, I don't see ever going above that, because it's, number one, it's way too much money. It would exceed my $50,000 ceiling, which still I think is exorbitantly high for a Tacoma, but if you want to play, you got to pay, right? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Which trim level for you is the best one out there? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.